The ground trembled beneath the feet of 1,000 alien warriors as they advanced through the ruined cityscape, their weapons charged and eyes set on the towering figure ahead. The sky was a swirl of dark clouds and intermittent flashes of lightning, casting a grim shadow over the battlefield. Amidst the devastation stood Emily, a giant human girl whose presence on the battlefield was as surreal as it was terrifying. Emily towered above the shattered buildings, her eyes fierce and determined, a makeshift shield in one hand and a long beam of reinforced steel in the other, repurposed as a sword. She had been a part of an experimental growth enhancement program intended for deep space exploration. However, when an alien fleet descended upon Earth, targeting its major cities and installations, Emily's unique abilities had swiftly been repurposed for war. The aliens, known as the Krall, had underestimated humanity's resolve, and even more so, the strategic advantage Emily would bring. Their first wave had been met with traditional military resistance, and now they faced a one-woman army in Emily, who had become a symbol of Earth's resistance. As the Krall forces moved in, their leader, Commander Vrix, broadcasted his orders over a loudspeaker, his voice reverberating through the air. "Focus your fire on the giant. Bring her down at all costs." Energy beams and ballistic projectiles filled the air, creating a deadly light show that sped towards Emily. With agility that belied her size, Emily maneuvered through the city ruins, using toppled buildings as cover. The impact of the weapons against her makeshift armor echoed like thunder, a testament to their force and her resilience. In response, Emily lifted her steel sword and swung with precision and power, slicing through a hovering alien cruiser as if it were made of paper. The cruiser exploded in a ball of fire, raining debris on the alien troops below, causing chaos in their ranks. But the Krall were numerous and relentless. Smaller units armed with portable energy cannons moved in groups, trying to flank Emily and exploit any opening. They coordinated their attacks, their movements synchronized, trained to battle opponents much larger than themselves. Emily knew she couldn't withstand their firepower forever. She needed to end this quickly. Spotting a central command unit identified by the distinct markings on their armor, Emily made a calculated decision. She charged, her steps causing the ground to shake, which disoriented the alien troops momentarily. As she reached the command unit, Emily swung her shield in a wide arc, knocking the soldiers off their feet and disabling their cannons. With the leaders in disarray, she turned her attention to the main force, her voice booming as she addressed the alien army. "This is not your world," Emily shouted, her voice carrying over the din of battle. "Leave now or be removed." Some of the Krall hesitated, their morale shaken by the fall of their command unit and the towering figure who seemed invincible. Commander Vrix, however, was not one to retreat easily. He rallied his troops, organizing a concentrated assault. The sky darkened further as dozens of Krall fighters' jets descended, their weapons locked onto Emily. She braced herself, knowing this was the moment she had to survive to turn the tide. As the jets unleashed their payload, Emily used her shield defensively, absorbing the impact of the energy blasts, which radiated off in waves, her armor smoking under the strain. In a desperate move, Emily grabbed a piece of highway overpass, ripping it from the earth with surprising ease. With a grunt of effort, she hurled it like a discus, smashing several jets out of the sky. The wreckage of the downed jets crashed into the advancing ground forces, causing further disarray. As the smoke cleared, Emily stood resolute, battered but undefeated. The Krall forces regrouped for another push, but their numbers had thinned, their resolve wavering under the shadow of her defiance. In the distance, the sounds of reinforcements could be heard. Humanity was not going to stand down. Emily had given them time, had held the line against overwhelming odds, and now the tide of battle was about to turn. Her heart pounded in her chest, not just from exertion, but from the weight of hope she carried for her planet. She was ready to fight to the last, to ensure that Earth remained free. The next wave would be crucial, and Emily was the unyielding shield against the storm. The battle was far from over, but in the heart of the giant girl was a relentless spirit that the Krall had not anticipated, a spirit that would fight as long and as hard as necessary to protect her home. The Krall's next wave advanced, their ranks tightened and reinforced by heavier artillery units. Emily, her figure now outlined against the stark lightning sky, stood her ground. She watched them come, a phalanx of interstellar nightmares, yet her resolve did not waver. She was Earth's sentinel, the last bastion against a tide that sought to overwhelm and subjugate. Commander Vrix, having reorganized his forces after the initial disarray, was determined to bring down the human colossus. His units were now equipped with enhanced energy lances, capable of piercing through tank armor. He knew the human size was an advantage, but in his mind, it also made her an easier target. "Concentrate fire on her limbs," Vrix commanded from his command hovercraft, floating high above the battlefield, safe from the immediate chaos but perfectly positioned to oversee the assault. "Cripple her mobility and focus on sustained fire. She must have a weakness." The Krall troops moved in a coordinated manner, their formations a mesh of organic and mechanical precision, designed to envelop and incapacitate larger foes. But Emily was unlike any opponent they had encountered. She had grown not just in body, but in spirit through the conflict. Her senses sharpened to the nuances of battle. As the first barrage of energy lances came, Emily deflected many with her shield, sparks and shards of metal scattering around her, yet she could not block them all. One lance grazed her thigh, leaving a searing line of pain that she stifled with a grunt. Pain was a constant now, but surrender was not an option. With a bellowed war cry, Emily swung her massive beam sword, cutting through a squadron of Krall drones that had flanked her position. Their wreckage burned on the ruined streets, a smoldering testament to her defiance. However, for every drone destroyed, 2 more seemed to take its place. Meanwhile, on the strategic command channel, human generals coordinated their forces, rallying to the support of their unexpected champion. Emily's resistance had given them a precious edge: time. Time to regroup, to strategize, and to counterattack. "Deploy the 5th and 7th Regiments on her flanks," ordered General Ramirez, the seasoned leader of Earth's defense forces. "Protect Emily and provide covering fire. She's buying us all the time we can get." As human tanks and armored vehicles rolled into position, they unleashed a barrage of their own against the Krall forces. The battlefield became a storm of fire and metal, each explosion a note in the symphony of war. Amidst the cacophony, Emily felt a renewed surge of strength. The presence of her fellow humans, their unwavering support, filled her with a fierce pride. She wasn't just fighting for Earth anymore. She was fighting for the people who had not given up, for the soldiers who now stood with her in the face of oblivion. Seeing their giant ally reinforced, the Krall's tactics shifted. They deployed their elite units, the Darkblades, a squad of warriors each capable of tearing through starship hulls. As they approached Emily, their cloaking devices flickered off, revealing their menacing armored forms. Emily squared her stance, preparing for the onslaught. She knew these warriors were different. Their movements were fluid, deadly precise. The first Darkblade lunged, its lance aiming for a gap in her makeshift armor. Emily parried with her sword, the impact sending shockwaves through her arms. She countered with a swift kick, sending the alien warrior crashing into a pile of debris. One by one, the Darkblades came at her, and one by one, she fought them with everything she had. Each clash was a test of her endurance, each moment a brush with death. But with each fallen enemy, her resolve hardened. She was the shield against the storm, the sword against the darkness. As the battle wore on, the skies began to clear, the first rays of dawn casting long shadows across the battlefield. The sight of the rising sun breaking through the darkness bolstered Emily's spirits. It was a new day, a symbol that no matter how dark the night, the light would return. The Krall, realizing their window was closing, rallied for one final push. Commander Vrix, frustration etching his features, ordered a massive bombardment, determined to end the battle before the human reinforcements could turn the tide completely. Emily, seeing the incoming fire, braced herself. This was it, the moment she had to survive. With a defiant roar, she charged the main artillery units, her every step causing the ground to quake. She swung her sword with all her might, destroying the first cannon as the rest opened fire. The world erupted in light and sound, a blinding fury that seared the edges of her vision. Pain engulfed her, but she pushed through it, driven by a single, unyielding command etched into her soul: protect Earth. As the smoke cleared, Emily stood, battered and bruised but unbroken. Around her, the Krull forces faltered, their resolve crumbling at the sight of the human giant who refused to fall. Commander Vrix, witnessing the turn of events, realized the futility of continuing the assault. The human spirit, embodied by the giant girl who fought like a titan, was indomitable. With a curt command, he ordered a retreat, his ships lifting off from the ravaged Earth, leaving behind a battlefield strewn with the scars of war. Emily, her breathing heavy, watched them go. She had done it. She had held the line. As her fellow soldiers converged around her, cheering and shouting, she allowed herself a moment of weary relief. The battle was over, and Earth was safe for now. But in the peace of the dawn, she knew her war was not just fought with sword and shield, but with heart. A human heart that beat strong and sure in the chest of a giant. As the retreating ships of the Krull became specks in the morning sky, Emily stood amidst the ruins like a colossus of ancient myth. Her silhouette against the rising sun was both a symbol of victory and a somber reminder of the cost. The city around her lay in ruins, a testament to the ferocity of the battle. Exhausted yet vigilant, Emily surveyed the aftermath, her mind barely processing the cheers of soldiers and the relief in their eyes. General Ramirez approached Emily, his expression a mixture of awe and deep gratitude. "You did it, Emily. You held them back. I can't begin to express what that means to all of us," he said, his voice heavy with the weight of the moment. Emily nodded, feeling the enormity of her actions settling in. "What's the status, General? How are the city and the people?" she asked, her voice hoarse from shouting over the clamor of war. "We're assessing now. Casualties are significant, but it could have been much worse without you. Emergency crews are on site, and we're setting up relief stations as we speak," Ramirez reported, his efficient tone belying the fatigue under his eyes. Emily's gaze drifted over the damaged cityscape. Every destroyed building, every crater spoke of lives disrupted, futures altered. The victory was crucial, but the recovery would be another battle, one of resilience and rebuilding. Over the next few days, Emily worked alongside rescue teams, her immense size allowing her to clear rubble and salvage critical infrastructure that would have taken ordinary crews weeks. Media outlets around the world broadcasted images of her lifting large debris and carefully navigating collapsed streets to rescue trapped civilians. The public, already in awe of her feats on the battlefield, now saw her as a guardian in peacetime too. However, the toll on Emily was not just physical. Each survivor she pulled from the wreckage, each grateful face was a reminder of the stakes of her role. The accolades did little to soothe the knowledge that the war was far from over. The Krull had been repelled, not defeated, and their next move was uncertain. At night, Emily's dreams were haunted by flashes of the battle, blasts of energy cannons, the clash of metal and the faces of the Krull warriors. The war had changed her, sculpted her into a weapon and a protector, but at the cost of her peace. Meanwhile, international leaders convened to discuss the aftermath and prepare for future threats. Emily was invited to attend, her input now valued not only for her combat effectiveness, but also for her unique perspective. At the conference, held in a secured location under the remnants of what was once a bustling convention center, Emily sat among military leaders, politicians, and diplomats. Her towering presence was incongruous in the sea of suits and uniforms, yet her voice was firm and clear. "We need to strengthen our defenses, yes, but we also need to understand the Krull better. Why did they attack? What are they after?" Emily posited, urging the leaders to consider a broader strategy. Her suggestions sparked a series of debates. Some argued for aggressive reconnaissance missions to Krull territories, while others advocated for diplomatic channels to prevent further escalation. Emily listened, her thoughts drifting to the ordinary people whose lives hung in the balance. The decision was made to enhance Earth's orbital defenses and establish a series of outposts along potential Kral approach vectors. Emily was asked to participate in the defense network, using her unique abilities to help train new units and develop strategies. As preparations for the new defense initiatives got underway, Emily spent her days at military bases, involved in war games and strategic meetings. Her nights, however, were spent visiting the rebuilt areas of the city, often incognito. She needed to feel the pulse of the world she was fighting for, to connect with the people beyond the headlines in hero worship. It was during one of these visits, while walking through a newly reopened park, that Emily met Anna, a young girl who approached her with a shy smile. "Are you the giant lady who saved us?" Anna asked, her eyes wide with a mixture of curiosity and awe. "Yes, I suppose I am," Emily answered, kneeling to be at eye level with the child. "My mom said you're the reason we're safe." "Thank you," Anna said earnestly, handing Emily a drawing of her in battle, colorful and vibrant. Emily accepted the drawing, touched by the simplicity and sincerity of the gesture. "You're welcome. It's my job to keep you safe," she replied, her heart swelling with a renewed sense of purpose. "I want to be strong like you when I grow up," Anna declared, her declaration earnest and fierce. Emily smiled, her spirits lifted by the encounter. "You can be anything you want to be, Anna. Just remember, being strong isn't just about fighting battles. It's also about knowing what's worth fighting for." That night, as Emily looked at the drawing again, she realized that while the war had made her a warrior, these moments of genuine human connection made her a hero. It wasn't just the might of her arms, but the strength of her heart that would define her legacy. This realization was a beacon in her ongoing struggle, a reminder that her true strength lay not only in her ability to fight, but also in her capacity to inspire and protect. As weeks turned into months, Emily's life settled into a rhythm dictated by her dual roles as Earth's defender and a symbol of hope for its people. She trained relentlessly with military units, devising strategies and testing defenses, ensuring that if the Kral returned, they would meet an even more formidable resistance. Yet she also made time to engage with the community, visiting schools and hospitals, and participating in public events to keep morale high. The world watched and waited. People rebuilt their lives, fortified by the knowledge that Emily was standing guard. Still, the threat of the Kral loomed like a shadow, and every report from the outer sensor arrays was met with bated breath. One chilly evening, as Emily walked along the coast, watching the sun dip below the horizon, her communicator buzzed. It was General Ramirez, his voice urgent. "Emily, we've detected a large object entering the solar system. It's on a direct course for Earth. We believe it's the Kral." Emily's heart sank, but her resolve hardened. "I'll be there as soon as I can," she responded, her mind already racing through tactical possibilities. She arrived at the command center, a flurry of activity around her. Screens lit up with data, analysts voiced rapid-fire updates, and officers barked orders. Emily stepped up to the main display, where General Ramirez awaited. "It's not just a ship, Emily. It's something else," he said, pointing to the radar images. The object was massive, dwarfing any known Kral technology. "We think it might be a weapon." Emily absorbed the information, her mind clear. "What are our options?" "We evacuate as many as we can, and we fight," Ramirez said, his expression grim. "You're central to the defense, Emily. You know that." "I'm ready," she replied without hesitation, understanding the weight of what was asked of her. As the alien object approached, cities worldwide braced for the worst. Evacuations were orderly, a testament to the drills and preparations of the past months. Emily took her position at the forefront of the defense grid, standing as Earth's first and last line of defense. The object entered Earth's atmosphere, revealing its true form. A colossal weapon, bristling with energy cannons, its design purely offensive. As it began its descent, Emily acted. She charged, leaping over defensive barriers, her every step causing the ground to tremor. The battle that ensued was unlike any other. Emily dodged blasts of alien energy, closing the distance between her and the weapon. She tore at its armor with her hands, ripped out its cannons, and used every bit of her enhanced strength to dismantle it piece by piece. The Krall weapon fired relentlessly, but Emily endured, her body battered but unbroken. Around her, Earth's forces supported her every move, firing upon the weapon, following her lead. The battle raged for hours, the night sky lit by flashes of energy and explosions. Finally, with one last surge of strength, Emily reached the core of the weapon. With a primal yell, she ripped it out, and the weapon fell silent, powerless, and defeated. As dawn broke, the world breathed a collective sigh of relief. Emily, standing amidst the wreckage of the alien weapon, felt a mix of triumph and exhaustion. She had saved Earth again, but at a cost visible in the scars that marked her body and the fatigue that weighed on her spirit. In the days that followed, celebrations erupted across the globe. Emily was hailed as the hero of Earth, the giant who defended her planet against the darkness of space. Yet for Emily, the victory was bittersweet. She knew her war might never end, that peace was but a fleeting shadow between the storms. General Ramirez approached her during the victory celebration, a rare smile on his face. "You've done it again, Emily, but you can't keep doing this alone. We're going to bolster our defenses, train more, prepare better." Emily nodded, gazing up at the stars. "We need to be ready for anything, but for now, let's enjoy this peace, however brief." Months later, Emily stood on a hill overlooking the city, now fully rebuilt. Children played in the fields below, their laughter a light melody that reached her ears. She realized then that her true strength lay not in her ability to destroy, but in her capacity to protect, to ensure that laughter never ceased. Though the future was uncertain, Emily knew she would face whatever came with the same indomitable spirit that had carried her this far. She was more than just a warrior. She was a guardian, a symbol of hope, and a promise of safety under the vast, starry sky.